Guys, welcome to another episode of the Abarcast. I am your host, Brian Abarca, and I have a special guest today. My girl, Kat. We go a long way back. Just like a huge trailer of like what's gonna happen right now. She is a former tenured teacher, now OnlyFans content creator and entrepreneur.
Yes.
Just imagine that. Like, just before we even get into this, I just want to tell you I admire you, because not many people have, literally, men and women, not many people have the balls to literally leave a stable job and just pursue what they want to pursue and pursue their happiness.
Yes. Thank you very
like,
much.
You have fucking balls.
Yeah, I'd like to call them ovaries, you know. Right?
Okay, all right,
You
yeah.
know what I'm saying?
There you go.
I thank you very much. I'm actually really proud of saying that I used to be a teacher, and I am now currently, I usually just say content creator because I do a lot of things on TikTok. Follow me on TikTok, YouLoveKat, and also on Instagram, YouLoveKat. In addition to OnlyFans, which is YouLoveKat OF on OnlyFans, if you guys are interested. I'm proud. I'm proud of it because, like you said, it's not easy. What you said though at the end is to pursue your happiness, and that's what I'm doing. What people see, you know, sometimes people don't see past that, but I really don't.
No, listen, that's the reason why I started this podcast, so we could try to help anyone out there who is kind of stuck in a similar situation,
right?
Or, you know, stuck in college, stuck in high school, and wants to not go the school route. There's nothing wrong with school, and then just pursue whatever they want to pursue, and you know, just taking the voices out of their head, whether the voices are their significant other, whether their family, parents, sister, brother, dog,
generational trauma.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's great though, because it allows, so even when you are in college, because I know when I was in college, there was no really information like past college. So I think.
What do you mean by that?
That there's no information like, okay, maybe like Google and all that shit. But I mean like what happens after, like the afterlife. You know, everything ends at college. And then all of a sudden you blink and it's marriage and then kids. Okay. But what happens in between? There's so many things that happen in between for everyone. Right. For everyone. And even in the developmental stage.
Any major too.
Yes. Literally any human being from the time that because we measure it by like grade, right? Because like, oh my God, when you graduate college, you're typically like in your early to mid 20s. Right. So, but let's look at what's happening actually, like developmentally. Like, where are you? You know, where is your brain? Your brain isn't still fully done growing, I think, up until you're like, what, 20?
Late 20s.
Yeah, in your late 20s, right? So in that stage, like, what happens? So much happens in that age of your 30s. Like, let's all think back. If you knew your parents in your 30s, you knew like, or in their 20s. So a lot happens. And I think part of that is, you know, what you're doing is giving insight to that. Whereas during our time, there was not that. So even if I do pursue to go to college, what can I do with my degree? I didn't know that. Like, I had an English degree. Well, I graduated with my bachelor's in English and secondary education. I thought all I could do was be an English teacher. That's it, you know? I didn't think that, oh my God, I could be a writer, or I could create courses. I could have a podcast. Like, I didn't think this stuff.
And then from what you told me, you ended up getting a master's as well. So you invested that much time, energy, and money into, you know, something that maybe you thought of, you thought that was going to be good for you, maybe you thought you wanted, and you realized, hey, there's nothing wrong with changing your mind.
Right. And what's interesting is I had that, well, when you start something, you finish it mentality. And I don't think we were taught, I think it's important to finish things that you start. I don't think you have to finish everything. Because you learn along the way. And I think part of learning and growing is adaptability and being able to know what and being able to kind of like decipher what no longer serves you and what serves you. And I think that I knew where I was going was not where I wanted to go. I just didn't know anything else. So like, even if I had a podcast like this, I think I would have had a better chance of like knowing like, oh my God, like, fuck it. I mean, you know, maybe I won't get my master's and I'll just focus on entrepreneurship. But I was like, no, maybe if I get another degree. And it sounds so funny, but this is what we were taught.
Right. And you know what? It works. And you know what? Not that it works. Like it does work whether you are, and we had this conversation earlier throughout the week, like it's unless you are trying to be in law or medicine, in my opinion, I just don't feel like there's no need for any extensive college degree, whether it's a master's or even if it's an undergrad. Like nowadays, you need networking, you need communication, you need to meet the right people, you need to have that spark, and then you could just do whatever the hell you want.
Coming from a teacher, I'm going to let you know now, my fiance and I, yes, I have a fiance. We are not planning on sending our kids to traditional school. I'm going to homeschool them. And it's not only because of
that's interesting. Why?
Right. Coming from a teacher who
Right.
worked in the system. And I think that that's actually why. I think the curriculum hasn't been updated in years. It's literally just been made to make it. The last time it was changed is during the Industrial Revolution, right? Where we needed workers to make things for war, right? So where, you know, we needed people in factories. And that was literally the last time that the curriculum has been updated.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And that's why, like, if people who went to like school, you know, before, they used to have sewing in classes, cooking, life skills, you know, and part of that should have been emotional intelligence, right? Like what are emotions and how to regulate them, things we didn't learn, but they disregarded that and then said, okay, what can we teach these kids, or what's a curriculum that we can make in order to make more workers? And that's why we have like bells that and the schedules change on a bell, right? Because think about it, like, oh, you know, it's lunchtime, or like this is like they're training you from a very young age. So that's why you need to know, like they'll give you like those bases. But why didn't we learn, you know, finances in college? In school.
That's true.
It's literally because of that.
Once it sucks to say this, but once I got into college, I started learning about taxes. I had no idea what taxes were. Yeah.
If you guys know OnlyFans, you gotta really pay your taxes. Make sure you do. Don't think that all this money that you're making, you know, that you just not gonna pay no taxes. Like Uncle Sam gonna come get you.
Exactly.
So make sure you pay
you know what's crazy? This is why I definitely wanted to do this episode with you. I have a soft spot for teachers. Like all the females in my family, or most of them teachers. Even the men in my family are teachers. My aunts, my uncles. You know, I'm some type of educator as well.
Yeah.
Like, and I was thinking about even being a teacher when I was in college. That, and then like
congratulations on not going through with it.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
very wise decision.
And I even had a history, like my ex significant other, she was a teacher. Like there was just, you know, there's something about educators that just kind of like, you know, just piqued my interest.
Yeah,
and
they're
like,
pretty
that's
hot.
why,
I'm not gonna lie.
That's why that I was just like, wow, like, you know, you're a teacher and then you ended up just dropping the mic and then just doing your own thing.
Right. Like no, I did some bad bitch shit. I do know that, because not only was I an actual teacher, it's like I stopped to be like a hot person.
And you were a tenure too, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I was a tenure.
Like you earned your stripes.
No, I earned my fucking
like,
shit.
It wasn't even like 1 year there and then you just bounced.
No.
You
I had the whole shit. I started off with teachers who didn't make it, who didn't get their tenure. I saw some fucked up shit that they did, where like they hire them for almost the entire time, because in that district in particular, it takes about 4 years and a day.
Right.
4 years and a day.
Right.
To get your tenure.
And I hear there's a lot of politics. I heard it from, you know, my mothers, my aunts, my uncles, you know, my ex-girlfriend.
That's literally like I was just saying, like they would fire you like a month before you hit that 4 years and a day mark. Like they're that type of place.
Wow.
Okay. So I made it through. I made it through the wilderness. Like I did.
That's great.
And I was very proud of myself. And I wanted to do that because I literally wanted to be like, okay, I did everything everyone fucking told me to do. I made it. And I'm still not happy. I still didn't get what the shit that I feel like I'm things that I wanted, basic things. Not, oh my God, why am I not going on vacation every like month? And like, why don't I have like all name brand or, you know, clothing? That was not what I was, you know, looking for. It's like, well, I would like to have a family. Why can't I even afford to house myself?
Yeah.
How am I going to be able to house
It's crazy how much teachers are just underpaid. But before we get into like your experience in the journey of teaching, like tell me about like YouLoveKat. Like were you always, you know, did you always have that mindset of being an entrepreneur? Did you always have the mindset of, you know what, maybe one day, even if I pursue teaching, regardless of the fact whether I was forced or whether I decided it, you know, I want to open up my own business.
That one right there. I, since a very young age, my dad, he came to this country. He was an immigrant. So he came in the 80s and he hustled his ass off.
From where?
From Dominican Republic.
Okay.
And my mom is from Ecuador.
Okay.
So my father, they had very different experience. He's the firstborn. So, you know, when you're the firstborn, you have pressures, you know, of your parents because you feel like this
you gotta take over.
Yeah, you need this, you have this need of like, I got to provide, I got to be able to do this. I got to repay them. Oh my God. Thank you. You know, and so my father, he's a firstborn. So he came to this country and hustled and he instilled that in me. Always, I've been doing karate since I was born. Like I can whoop ass. I did martial arts up until like maybe my sophomore year. I took a break. I'm actually going back because I miss it. So I'm actually in the middle of rehabilitation for some of my, you know, joints because, you know, mold, so that I can do that. But he instilled that like hustle, entrepreneur, you can do it mentality in me. I was going to, like I mentioned to you before, I used to go to church. So I would sell either candies in church. I would sell sometimes like little brooches to the older ladies. Like, oh my God, would you like? So pretty. It would look pretty on you. And then like they would, you know, buy. I even remember like telling them like, this looks like the thing from the Titanic. Do you want it? And they'd be like, oh my God, yeah. And they loved it. So I've always been like that. And it just seemed so out of reach because my parents were immigrants. You know, it seemed like, you know, like a Caucasian thing to get an LLC and have a business. It seemed like a rich person thing to you know, work for yourself and have control over your schedule. So because of that, and I never saw my family do it or actually like full-fledged pursue it. I always saw them do it, the hustle on the side, but not full-fledged and do it. Like my dad could have very well opened up a boutique, could have very well opened up an online clothing store, and you know, he didn't. And I didn't understand like did they never go legit? I always saw like the start of like the little side hustle and that was it. So it felt so out of reach. So I thought, okay, if they
do you feel like that's just, you know, that could be catered just like because of the time, like just, you know, nowadays it's a bit more like trendy to open up an LLC and, you know, be your own boss. But like,
I will tell
20,
you why.
30 years ago.
I will tell you why though, because we have access to information.
Right.
You have to understand something. Even go as far as back as slave days, like they were limited to what they could do because they were unable to read, which was having access to information. They wanted to keep slaves uneducated for that reason. Now, I'm not calling us slaves, but there is a trend here in the United States of minorities, right? So us being people of color, they, you know, having the internet was like a luxury type of thing when it first came out. And, you know, as time progresses, you know, it became more of a normal thing that now even all types of people of a different economic status have access to the internet, which is access to information. And right there, it changed the playing field. So now, because like I said, like if we would have had this podcast just 10 years ago when we were in college, yes, I'm that old. I'm that young. right? Or that's seasoned. Yeah, let's call that.
I like that perspective.
Right. I just turned 30, so I'm like wearing that shit like a fucking crown. Yeah, I'm like, I'm a bad
listen,
bitch.
you're still young.
Yeah.
You're still young.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be 30. I'm like,
yeah,
telling everybody like, oh, I'm old.
Fuck your joints.
Yeah, that's right. Did anybody catch that I'm doing rehabilitation for my joints? Did anybody know? We didn't catch that? Okay, all right.
All right, so Kat was an entrepreneur when she was a little kid. Now, fast forward to like undergrad and right. Going for your master's, like when you were in that during that time, like were you going towards teaching? Were you like 100% towards teaching? Were you just kind of like, you know what, my parents are telling me to go teach, so I'm gonna just go teach? Like how was that
so I was trying to just figure it out. I was like, okay, in the time, because I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I just didn't know how, and I didn't make the time to learn because I thought it was so complicated. So in that time, does anybody remember World Ventures? Right? Do you remember like the "you should be here" signs of people travel? It's like a travel club. Well, it was an MLM, right? So I fell into like the victim of like the whole like multi-level marketing business. Oh, you can be your own business, all that bullshit. But what I was exposed to, which I will always forever be grateful for, that is the mentality of you can do it. Like every no is just closer to a yes. So it was towards the end of college that I started realizing like, oh my God, like you can kind of do your own thing. But I was just afraid. And then because
afraid of what?
I was afraid that I couldn't do it, that I could not make money. The only way I thought I could make money was through being a teacher or through some kind of like college. And I was like, well, I could be a teacher. So instead of, and because MLMs are kind of like made for you to kind of like to be hard, that's why my first experience of entrepreneurship, quote unquote, was with MLM. So I was like, oh my God, it's really fucking difficult. Let me just, all right, I'm gonna need more time. Yeah. So then when I was a teacher, I was like, okay, I can do this more. And then I just didn't feel it. Again, it's an MLM. I'm just, it's like I wanted to invest, but I didn't full-fledged want to go through the hardship. So I was like, let me kind of take this route. But that really wasn't what I was trying to do anyway. I was afraid of going through the process. Right. The how am I going to get this money? How am I going to make people think that I'm worthy to give their money, in exchange, and they feel like they got an exchange of something, So just being exposed to that kind of like hustler's mentality is what helped me be like, okay, I think I really want to pursue this, but it took time.
Yeah. You mentioned when we were speaking that, and this really hit me hard. You told me like your first week of teaching, you literally realized that you did not want to be a teacher.
Absolutely.
Like your first week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like elaborate with that. Like that was.
It was funny because I was bartending as I was bartending at a strip club. So I was used to making a pretty decent amount of money. And but it wasn't crazy. Okay. I need you to understand. Like it's not like, you're making thousands and thousands. Like, no, you're making a couple $100, almost think a little bit like making money as a server. You're making about the same much, maybe a little bit more.
Minimum $200 on a good day.
$200-$300. Yeah. You come on with,
And then plus as a bartender, you're probably breaking maybe 3, 4, 5.
Right. So
and on top of that, maybe you're at a strip club, like you're good looking, so you're probably making even more then.
Back during that time, I was also in college. I was very, very shy. Also my second time in a strip club was my interview for the job at the strip club. Okay. So I was very, very like.
So that was like a trial run?
Yeah. Okay. And so I didn't make as much money like I would, like if I was bartending now at a strip club, it's over. Like I'm making money. Like I have experience now. But so I was making maybe like $500, even $800, sometimes $1,000 over the weekend, right? 3-4 days. When I saw my check as a teacher, I was like, well, how the fuck am I going to get out? Like, how the fuck am I going to get out of my house? I can't afford any kind of rent. And this was back in 2000 and
you were living at home.
15, 16.
That's what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't move out up until 2021, May 2021.
There's a lot of teachers out there who, you know, they teach and they're still living at home.
It's fucked up. It's crazy.
Right.
Yeah, no, we can't afford to house ourselves, but for some reason we make too much money to qualify for any kind of government
Now
help.
let's pause right there. There's nothing wrong with staying at home and trying to save money, but when you literally have no choice or avenue,
right? But it
like
wasn't. It's not a choice. That's the difference.
When
it's,
you have no choice and you're stuck at home because you don't make any money,
exactly.
Yet you went to school, you did all the right things, you got your undergrad, you got your even master's, and you're still stuck at home. Like then that's a situation.
I did the whole like. When I tell you I did the shit by the book, I was in band. I had extracurriculars. I was involved in any kind of school government from middle school, high school, all the way up until till college. Like I was always involved. I was in cheerleading, karate, all these kinds of clubs, in a sorority, everything. I did everything. And now I'm here like I'm not even able to own a studio, like go get like rent a studio if I wanted to just kind of like explore and I didn't even dorm to like save money. So now you understand why I'm like at this age, I'm at like 23, 24, like I'm trying to like, all right, I want to like
now curiosity, like did your parents like want you to stay home? Did they want you to like kind of just like push out? Or
I told you I was brought up in very conservative in a Christian home.
Right.
So they didn't want me to stay home. I mean, it was also part of saving money. And you know, the traditional of like, oh my God, you know, you shouldn't leave until like you're married.
Right.
You know, that bullshit.
Yeah, let's go. All right. So fast forward. So you had that feeling the first week. Obviously, you know, you stuck around for 6 years.
Yeah.
Now, like, we've all, in the year 2020, we've all gone through this whole situation of COVID-19.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, it hurt everybody. But what really mind fucked me, especially because my family, they're all educators in schools and districts, was the fact that like they were not, you know, ever in a situation where they had to teach at home and you know, like let's say teach your kids through video,
right,
through their laptop, through a computer. Like tell me, how was your experience through COVID and how did that kind of push you to the edge to the point where you were just like, you know what, that's it?
Okay, so there were I think there were two phases. It was the phases where everybody was clapping for the essential workers at, you know, every day at like 6 or 7.
I remember, yeah.
Right? For that half, it was great. It was cool. It was like I also had a taste of entrepreneurship because I was working at what felt like at home and we were doing like half days. So it was only up until like 1 p.m. So it was like, wow, like this is really cool. Oh. And then I'm not dealing with any of the administration. I'm not dealing with any of their bullshit. I'm kind of just at my home and I'm just like seeing the students like, hey, what's up guys? You know, like, and then, you know, just chill. It was pretty great.
Okay.
But that fucked me up because I was so ready to go back. I was like, oh my God, you know what? Maybe teaching really is for me. And I think I had that. I think as teachers, you go through that at least like every marking period. Like, that's teaching for me. Yeah, okay.
And then you fall off with the kids again.
Oh, fuck. That's the problem.
It's the kids.
I'm telling you, like it's, yeah, those kids have changed my life. Like, I don't care where I'm at. I know that, like, if you were, like, Miss Lizardo's student at some point, like, you already know you got my heart. You know you got, like, I got your back. You know, so, yeah, those kids changed my life. They're amazing. I learned so much from them. And part of that is why I'm doing what I'm doing. Because my kids would tell me like, yo, Miss Lizardo, you're like, I feel like you're supposed to be doing more. And I'd be like, what do you mean? Like, I don't know, like your class, it's like, I could just come here and I talk. And even though we learn about stuff, we learn more. And you were learning about life and you were learning about, like, never said that. Like, I told him, like, there's no dumb question here. And if you laugh at somebody's question, like, get out of my class. Because we don't do that shit here. We're all here to learn from one another. I'm learning from you. You learning from me. You're going to see me make mistakes. I'm going to see you make mistakes. But that don't make me better than you, and it'll make you better than me. You know, and that mentality and creating that environment is what really helped me, like, not only learn from them and them learn from me. It was just is what kept me there.
Especially during COVID.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. But during COVID, I will say there was like kind of a disconnect already because I was just like on my way out. I wasn't even trying to go back after the beginning of COVID. So it started in March 2020. The school year ended in June. I was just so bent on like, I'm not going back. I'm not going back. I loved what felt like the little bit of freedom that I had. I was like, I love it. Fuck that. I'm not going back. And
did you start like anything during that time?
No. I was, again, too scared. So I was just avoiding. That also, I didn't realize I had depression creeping up on me.
Right.
And something about depression is like you can live with it and you won't even know it that you have it until all of a sudden it's like.
Right. And a lot of people went through that during COVID, especially because they had no interaction with other people. They were stuck at home.
You're stuck to reflect with your own thoughts. That's really what it is. Yeah. Like, let's call it what it is. It's everybody saw who they were and that scared the shit out of everybody.
And if your mindset was already foggy, just imagine how you were in like 3 or 6 months.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So you can imagine. So now I get back and it's September and I'm like, oh, fuck. I was like, all right, me and my fiance, like, it was going to be the last year I'm teaching, though. That was the plan. Like, all right, fuck it. I'm going to just go back one more time, save up the money because I'm afraid. That was really what it was. I'm going to save up the money because I'm afraid. And I'm going to put myself through this torture. If I did it for fucking 6 years, I could do it one more year. And after I put myself through this torture, then I can go ahead and just, live my life. I tried that and I have asthma, so I was trying to use that as a reason to why I should stay home, especially when they allowed that. Like they said, if you have any pre-existing conditions, if you have anything that compromises your health, you are allowed to, as recommended by a doctor, to work from home. And when I submitted in my documentation from my doctor, I had HR reach out to me and literally
to leave, right?
No. Just to work from home.
Okay.
I had the HR reach out to me and literally verbatim say, this looks suspicious. That my documentation from a doctor looks suspicious. I lost it. That was my breakdown. I had a panic attack. I was just like, like, I can't believe that these people think. Like, yes, I needed a break from them, but everything was legitimate. You guys said, hey, if you guys have any pre-existing conditions, get documentation and then we'll let you work from home.
So you were just doing everything by the book?
Yes, and still no. And do you see what you just said? I was doing everything by the book and still no. This was a constant pattern I felt in my life. Right. And then I broke down. I had to call crisis emergency, those people, intervention, which, that sounds like, oh my God. But it's really just like, hey guys, I need therapy. And I'm like crying, and they're like, okay, we're going to set you up with a therapist. And how's this day? Does this work for you? Okay, great. All right. Do you have insurance? Yes. Okay, boom. And I made the appointment. And then about a week later, they diagnosed me with depression, PTSD, and severe anxiety. Okay, so everything that I was feeling, I wasn't bugging. You got what I'm saying? Like, oh shit, like this is true.
Did you feel better getting a diagnosis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, because I didn't feel like it was just in my head, because you second guess yourself because you don't want to be that person. You almost right, and we have that stigma over. I don't want to be the person that's saying I'm going through some shit and I'm really not. Right. But what the fuck does that even mean? Like, because it's not the Hollywood version of like, because I can't get up, because I haven't showered, because I'm just always sad. No, people have what's known as high functioning anxiety. You're sad. You're not happy with how things are, but you ignore them. But we cope with them in different ways. We can distract ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's why COVID freaked everybody out, though. because we could no longer distract ourselves because we were restricted at home. We distract ourselves with smoking, with drinking, with going to the gym, with shopping, with going out for dinner, with just being able to go out. Because when you're at home, you know, it's just you and your real life, you know? So that...
How did that... So all right, so... You know, you got diagnosed. You're starting to get therapy. How did that kind of just like transition? What was the transition from you getting out of teaching into entrepreneurship?
It was finally in February. So everything was stemming from like my traumas with the experience of my job. I had some traumas there. They fucked me up. They blackmailed me on some bullshit because I had a picture of a bathing suit out. And that was it for me though. Like, because I have a picture of a bathing suit of me on vacation on my day off, I get blackmailed saying that this type of content needs to be taken down. And when I say, is this the procedure for all of the teachers? They reply with, do you really want to go down that route? Because we feel like you're not using your PTO correctly. Like, what? You know what I'm saying? So I experienced that in addition to this pattern in my life, like I mentioned earlier.
And you were just on vacation, just
on my own shit. On
your
my own,
bikini, just chilling,
yeah,
just
on
vibing.
my own shit.
That's crazy.
And what's crazy, because me and my fiance, my fiance loves the shit out of me for I don't know why, you know. And he just loves. He's been taking pictures of me for as long as I could remember, or since we started dating, pretty much. And we've always wanted to release some of these things, and not even because like, oh my God, they're so sexy, but because we see the art behind it. He's a boudoir photographer, and I love that. I couldn't release anything. So we're just, you know, minding our own business, doing our own thing. I get in trouble. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Like, I literally can't live my own life. So once I started doing therapy, more and more of that same theme, of that same pattern started to uncover in my life, in every area of my life, from my family relationships to my own, you know, like my own identity. And this is where I started to be like, yo, what the fuck do I want to do with my life? I finally finished the program, not because I actually was able to complete it. I kind of did. I still had some more time left. It was just my leave of absence was up, because once they said that my shit was suspicious, I had a breakdown, got my information from my doctor saying that I needed a leave of absence, you know, so I could take care of my mental health. And once that was over, so was my insurance. So that's why I had to get out of the program, which is fucked up. Because if you think about it, like, I'm finally stable mentally, I'm feeling great, but now I no longer can use this because that's it, time's up. And now February 5th, 2021 was the last day. That was the last day I had a job. And it wasn't up until about 2 months. It took me about 2 months of like, okay, I tried doing lashing. I tried to do another MLM, which was Monet. I tried... maybe I could, I was just thinking, I even tried selling platters. I was just thinking of any possible fucking avenue for me to make money. And in that time, OnlyFans was just like a thing. Like, I'm like, oh, I would never fucking do that shit. That's crazy, because I'm relating it to porn, right? And I understand that people have explicit content there.
Now, explain OnlyFans, because, you know, I heard about it. It was trendy, okay, like whatever. But like, and I did a little bit of homework, you know, about it. But I rather hear someone that literally, you know, does OnlyFans, just kind of get like the 101 of like, so, what is it?
One, I'm gonna tell you that I'm gonna preface with this. This is where all platforms are moving towards, because of the Great Resignation, which is what happened to me. I'm one of many people that quit their job during this time.
Right.
So most platforms are moving towards channels, Okay, we see this with our own TV channels. We no longer, who the fuck has cable anymore? We purge, what subscription you got? All right, I got this one. That's what I got. That's what I watch.
Right.
So it's the same. It's going to be the same thing with even with social media. And this is how people are going to make money, right? You subscribe to people's channel, right? And there's positive and negatives to it, right? You can curate. Right, you can curate your information. You can curate what you want to see, what you ingest, which I think is great. It also allows people to be a lot more like just with what they think, but that's nor here nor there. So OnlyFans is a platform where you create content and people pay a subscription or they pay per post, right? So it's like any other social media platform except you put the price range and there's no, oh, your shit's gonna get taken down because you're too sexy. Your shit's gonna get taken down if it's not you, if you're not collabing, if you're not giving the rights to another content creator. But I think that's fucking great. You know, this allows us to really, really express ourselves. Now, many people use it for explicit content in the like porn area. I do think 100% that this is a sex worker app, right? Or a lot of no, let me rephrase that. This app has mostly people in the sex worker industry.
Okay.
It's not limited to that because you as a personal trainer, you can literally have your channel on Patreon, on OnlyFans. You can do this kind of thing. However, because we all know that sex sells, because we know that they allow that, this is why they can't, the app went that way.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, Instagram is just, 75% like, or 50% influencers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And influencers could be anything. But,
right.
All right, so what does Kat do on OnlyFans?
Okay, so this is what I love. I'm literally on my own self-love and body image journey. As I mentioned before, I've suffered from like anxiety, or not I suffer. I don't even want to say that because that sounds like woe is me. I've had anxiety, I've gone through depression, and I've had the whole body dysmorphia. I'm a Latina, I grew up with the estás comiendo demasiado, I know, and I also grew up where you're gonna make men sin if you wear that tight skirt and
right.
and da 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 da. So I didn't have self-expression. So OnlyFans is allowing me to express myself and my body and explore that in any way that I deem my own identity. I do it through photography and striptease content. I love being sexy. I love just making people feel good about themselves. So like if you engage with me on my platform, I call my audience my love. Like I'm constantly trying to like motivate them.
Right.
I even get people like, oh, I want a sex video. Do you guys do you make sex videos? Or, oh, I don't like this kind of content. And I'm never like negative towards them. I'm like, oh, thank you so much for your inquiry and your support. I don't offer that kind of content. However, if you're looking for that, maybe I might not be the, the content, for you. So yeah, and it's so funny because I feel like sex is so taboo, especially in the United States, where like you go to Europe and it's like they have topless beaches, which is like the norm,
right?
Right. And that's as far as like I feel like my OnlyFans goes, right? Because that's just what I just want to feel like free and be able to just express myself with my body, and really just every stage I go through. So I'm actually like working out and eating differently and focusing on like my macros and stuff like that. So that
before we get into that, like what, like I wanna see what the comparison is of income between OnlyFans and teaching. Like I just want to go there just because it's kind of like,
okay.
Like why, like you don't have to give me a specific number, but just give me a range. Like, is it more or is it less?
100% more.
Okay, so it was 100% more.
Like I mentioned to you that I was unable to live outside of my parents' home until May 2021.
Which is after February, which is after you started doing your
So
OnlyFans.
I started my OnlyFans in April 2021. Wow. I was able to move out in May 2021.
That was great.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's a lot of hard work, though.
Yeah, I could imagine. I can imagine. It's not just putting up a camera and just like doing your own thing.
And that's part of why I do what I do, because I've had the moments where I put up a camera and I literally burst into tears because I feel shitty about my skin, my acne. I feel like not my best. I start crying and it's like, oh my God, now I'm not even going live. And now I'm not making money. So it's like, well, there goes that. So there's so many things you actually have to get past and over, and people don't realize that comes with this. So I see as every person who subscribes to my OnlyFans as people who really want to see the authentic me and are there for my journey. Right. And that's why I fuck with it. I fuck with them, and even, no matter where I go, because I'm not sure that I'm going to do OnlyFans for the rest of my life. I probably will have a channel for a really long time. I'm not sure where that's going to go. But I do know that wherever I go, that audience will always have my heart, because they were the ones who put the roof over my head. They were the ones who saw my worth, saw the worth in like my content, and we're like, yo, I fuck with this. I fuck with her vibe. I fuck with the fact that she's, who she is, because I talk about this, and also I'm trying to change it up. I do traveling, and I'm starting to do that with my OnlyFans. So like if you purchase, we're actually going to be opening up a sale next month where if you purchase for, I believe it's $50, you get access to pretty much about 3 to 4 weeks of content that I create in another country.
That's cool.
Yeah. So you get to see, like my art around in different countries and
curiosity.
Yeah.
All right. Just because we as entrepreneurs, we have this stigma of not being able to be a proper significant other. And now, since I'm kind of going towards this,
I like this. I like where this is going, though. I like where this is going.
Like you're an OnlyFans content creator,
yes,
and you have a fiance
who's engaged. Yes, who's engaged.
Yeah,
yes.
and he's a photographer.
Yes.
And the way you've been speaking about him, he sounds very supportive. Like, how do you guys?
He is 100%. He is 100% supportive, right?
Okay.
So it's great because I think it started the other way around. I was a teacher and he was a boudoir photographer. Right. Okay, and he...
Wait, what is that?
So a person who takes pictures, basically pictures of women who are, I don't want to say explicit, but like are sexy.
Okay.
So anywhere from like, it can be just looking sexy to actually being,
and you accepted that business.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, because I saw the art in it.
And you know what? Like, I love this psychology because I wanted to dive into this and just pick your brain, because there's a lot of stigma out there about trainers.
Y'all are fuckboys. That's what they say,
exactly.
Right? No, they do say that about photographers, and I will say,
and that too. You know what I mean? And there's different professions where, they'll say, oh, this guy's a fuckboy, this guy this guy that. And it's just because of the profession. It's not because, like you just don't know the person. Like there are fuckboys out there who are photographers and who are trainers.
There are fuckboys who are principals.
Exactly. And there's fuckboys who are janitors. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. Like there's fuckboys everywhere.
I feel like you were personally.
I'm a little hurt. So that's why, like I've like, I'm not gonna lie, like I've gotten attacked because of, like my career. Like hearing my career is like, oh, like, all right, like you're not serious.
I'm gonna tell you something.
But you accepted that person.
Yes, because. And
I love that.
Because I that has all to do with yourself.
It's the insecurity.
Yes,
exactly.
100%. If you're already placing that judge, because I understand certain stereotypes and stigmas exist, but it
comes back into mentality and security.
Right. So now, am I going to really lose an opportunity? Like when I met my fiance, like we were really, really like friends. I was like, yo, I fuck with his vibe. He's cool as hell. Like, I'm just chilling with him. We were just like chatted up, and he was already doing his photography stuff. So when I started to when we entered a relationship, it was like, what am I gonna just? Oh no, now you can't take pictures.
Exactly.
You can't do this now. You can't do.
You start limiting the boy.
You can't do what made me like you.
Exactly. And
what?
And then it gets to the point where, like, all right, let's be devil's advocate. You start limiting the guy, and then you start still expecting him to, like, let's say, take you out to dinner, and this like these are things that he has to do.
Expectations.
These are things that he has to do so that he can still treat you for dates and things like that. Things that made you fall in love with this person.
Oh yeah, no, but like it wasn't just that. It was just the fact that I also saw how my fiance worked. He prided himself in respecting women and not making them feel uncomfortable during their photo shoots. Exactly. Because unfortunately there's that stigma of, because women are trying to get photographed, you have these very perverted people who are exposing and taking advantage of women, and fuck them. Right. Fuck them for fucking this up. And the same, but you also have to understand, fuck the trainers who are being creeps and not respecting their profession or respecting people. You got what I'm saying? So when I saw that how he was, I was like, well, why the fuck not? Like, I trust him. And if he fucks up, he fucked up.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
It just comes down to the profession.
Yeah. And more, I even started to see that when like the women that would go to the photo shoots and then meet me, they would end up fucking loving me and even feeling even more fucking comfortable, wanting to work again, wanting to create more content, more collaborations. And it was just an overall, and I'm like getting to know these really great people. Like, I would have missed out on the opportunity if I would have just imagined this bullshit lie. You got what I'm saying?
I feel that.
And not for nothing, my fiance has like a reputation according to his own past. Like, he's told me, but what the fuck? That got nothing to do with me. You not showing that to me, so that's why I got this ring, baby. Okay.
Exactly, girl. Congrats about the
ring.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, so like let's kind of like jump into. All right, so you do the OnlyFans.
Okay.
Kat does the OnlyFans. What else do you do? Like, what else does Kat does?
Yeah. So that's my like big. Oh my gosh, this is the crazy one.
Right. That's your main source of income.
Right. Well, I think it's my biggest one for now. Next to that is my Cmos. Right. So I'm really big on health. Aside from mental health, I also do think that translates into your physical health. So I create Cmos supplements. It's really just Cmos gel, and you put that into like.
And for the people out there, what is Cmos?
Okay, so it's really just part of the seaweed family. Okay. It's a plant that comes from the ocean. We get it from the Caribbean Ocean because it just happens to have a lot more minerals in there. And because it's natural, it has 92 minerals, and your body uses 102 to function. So you're getting 92 out of 102 minerals that your body uses to function.
That's great.
It's really great for detoxing. It's great for sex drive, okay? I'm not lying. You can look it up. It's great for gut health. It's great for just so many things. And the reason I started selling it was not because I wanted to make money. It was because I felt the difference in my own body.
Right. You believe in the product.
Right.
Okay.
So because I felt so I felt the difference in my own body. I saw the benefits. I started to give it to like my fiance, to my family, and they started to feel good. That's what I wanted to sell. And I also started a what's it called? A mobile cocktail business. So it's basically like if you need bartenders, you can hire us and, we'll bartend your event if you're looking for something like that. It's called Lucid Cocktails. I have it with, I opened this company up with one of my really great friends. She's amazing. She's a freaking hustler. So definitely, if you guys want to check that out, it's called Lucid Cocktails on TikTok and on Instagram.
I love
Lucid
that.
Cocktails.
I gotta follow that.
Yeah.
People follow that. that.
Yeah. Also, if you're looking for Cmos and you want to improve your health, feel free to visit www.shemosboss.com. It's spelled SHEMOSS. Okay, Shemosboss, BOSS.com. You can also find us on Instagram and TikTok. If you're not sure what Cmos is, or you want to see how to like ingest your Cmos, you can take a look at that.
Kat, I love that. And you know what? Like, it's crazy how when we first met at LA Fitness back in the day.
Yeah.
And you were a client of one of my coworkers.
Yes.
And you just had this like vibe where like I would always just see you at the gym and I would just like high five you and I was like, yo, like you just get it, girl. You know what I'm saying? And like, you know, like it's great. Like we just kept in touch since then.
Yes.
You know, and like it's funny how just things and stars just align to just kind of just end up doing this type of collaboration.
You know what? I think it's great because
it's destiny.
Yes, it really is. And I think it also says everything about our like generation. You get what I'm saying? Like,
elaborate.
Like we out there, we out here. You know, I feel like people we're giving hope to people our age, and it's great because I feel like a lot of people feel the way we feel, and you doing this podcast is gonna help people. I just in the beginning of the podcast, I was telling you like if I would have had something like this earlier, it could have really helped me.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm happy that you're living in your truth, living in your happiness. I see you doing your own thing, and I'm happy we were able to stay in contact. And definitely, I'm excited to see where all of this goes next, both me and you.
Now, Kat, question.
Okay.
So I'm gonna ask you your input in this question from Question Mondays, just because you are an entrepreneur as well.
Okay.
So this is a question from one of my followers. What fear do entrepreneurs have to overcome to start their own business?
Can I list two? Is that okay?
Yeah. I mean,
okay. So I'm gonna list two things. It's your own mental health. So like you have to really look into your traumas. What are you scared of? What do you want? How are you going to get it? How do you deal with things? That once you're able to control your emotions. And I think you can control your emotions by learning about your mental health. You're powerful. Learning about your emotions is like literally learning about your powers. If you were like a Marvel or character or something like that. I think that's, you know, your own traumas. That's one of the things that we fear, like figuring out what our shit is.
Okay.
And two, right? Because that's always the hardest thing to deal with. And then two, just money. Can I do it? Will I do it? Can I make it?
Like money, like is it expensive type of thing?
Can I produce it? Can I produce it on my own? Can I almost make it out of thin air, right? Because essentially that's what an entrepreneur does. Just make money out of thin air. Like I give you this idea, I give you this product, I give you this service, and now you pay me for it versus like, I earn a salary as a teacher, or, I work for someone else. You do it for yourself. So I think that's the scariest part. Like, oh my God, I'm going to have to produce it on my own.
And you know what, guys? I think the third, and Kat didn't touch base on it. Maybe it missed it, or, I think just studying how other people are is the fact that how scared you are of other people thinking or judging the business that you're going to start. Like you're not sure, what little Jimmy's gonna think about you, or Rebecca, or Barbara, or Patty,
or mom.
Or mom, exactly. You know what I mean? And parents will just kind of say, a negative thing or a third negative thing, because they're just not educated and they're not aware of the type of era that we are in right now.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the biggest parts as well, is just like pursuing your happiness and just trying it out, trying to establish and reach your happiness could be one thing. And then if it's successful, that's amazing, great. Right. And if it's not successful, it's like, all right, like you just cross that box off onto the next. But like, why care of other people, what other people think?
Right. I think it leads to like, or it goes back to how we were raised and what our traumas are. Because if like, every time you did something that was creative, mom beat shit out of you, it was like, you're gonna grow up not valuing creativity, right? And this is an extreme example, right? But little more and more we see how these things influence us. So I just think that you gotta just say fuck it. You gotta live your life, because ultimately no one pays your bills but you.
Exactly.
You die alone. Exactly. And no one is responsible for your own happiness except yourself.
Amen.
So yeah.
Great question, Lisa. And on that note, right before we take this celebratory, shot, I would want to just for you to just tell the followers out there, or whoever's watching out there, where they can follow you, where they could reach you out, and say your goodbyes before we take this shot.
Yeah. So we're going to start off with my personal Instagram. You can follow me at YouLoveKat, YOULOVEKAT, on Instagram and on TikTok. You could follow me if you want my spicy content. You can follow me on OnlyFans at YouLoveKatOF. If you're interested in your health and improving that, follow Cmos Boss on Instagram and on TikTok, SHEMOSSBOSS. Or you can go on www.cmosboss.com and you can purchase. And if you're interested in hiring mobile bartender, if you need some cocktails or you're having a party, an event, please feel free to visit our Instagram, which is at Lucid Cocktails. And on TikTok, we're trying to get big on TikTok.
Yeah, we are. Yeah. All right. Why don't you just choose whatever body you would want, and then we could just take a toast on your business.
Oh, yes. Okay, because I'm Caribbean. We're going to do some of this.
Oh, yes. I love that. You're my type of friend. I'm a honey person, too.
Okay.
So, Kat, I want to just tell you, I admire you so much for the things that you've done.
Thank you.
The things you've dropped and pursued. Not many people have the balls or the ovaries to do that. And I hope, this motivates anyone out there to do something similar, just to pursue their happiness.
Yeah, straight up.
You're literally a role model, and I admire you so much for doing that.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that.
And a toast to, your OnlyFans, Cmos, your online bartending, business, everything.
Yeah, cheers to you and this podcast. I'm so happy to be here. Let's get it.
And on that note, guys, that is the end of our episode. Make sure you follow my girl here, Kat, and make sure you answer questions on Mondays so that we could answer, or I can answer them personally, in depth every week on my podcast. All right. Love you all. Have a good night.